Welcome to the Wednesday Inspiration service from the Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living. So glad you're all here this morning. I welcome all of those of you who are watching online on YouTube. We feel your presence. We appreciate your presence. So let us begin, as we always do, with prayer. Let's turn within. So we just take this moment to see, to know, to feel, to embody that great truth that God is all there is. There is only one life. There is only one mind. There is only one infinite presence of love and harmony and wholeness that indwells all that is the center of all that is. And I know that that is my very life and being, that which is animating my life, that which is expressing as me, is the presence of God itself. Not only is that true for me, it is true for every person here, and it is true for every person that concerns us. It is the truth of every being everywhere, for God is truly the one power and presence. At the center of it all is God. Regardless of appearances, regardless of what is showing up on the surface, at the center of it all is God. And so we can know that divine perfection in ourselves, that divine perfection in every situation, that divine perfection in all that is, because God is right there in the midst of it and at the center of it and as the core of it. And so we know that truth today, and we call that truth forward. We call that truth of God being the one. We call that forth. We pierce the veil of appearances, and we see through to the truth that all is well right here and right now. I bless this service. I give thanks for the goodness, and I just let it be. And so it is. Amen. I'm Reverend Gregory Toole. I'm happy to share some announcements with you today. But first, I want to invite everyone to silence your phones so we can not have any interruption of this wonderful service. Thank you for doing that. On February 7th, which is coming up a week from this Saturday, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, my class that I'm facilitating called Conscious Loving starts. It's 6 weeks, 6 Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. You will be happy you took this class, because it is a way beyond just our intimate relationships. It'll help those too, but beyond that, it will help us be with all people in a much more conscious way that allows us to get our needs met, others to get their needs met, and also allows us to stand in our power at the same time. Let's go for a night out at the theater. We're inviting everyone in the community to join us. We have discounted tickets, $25 tickets that you can buy here up through February 5th. The event itself is on Saturday, February 7th at 5 p.m. It's a tribute to the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, and they do a really good job. These are concerts at the Redondo Union High School, and they do a really good job. Danny, who attends here, who's a member here, organizes those, and they do those concerts are great. So it's very high quality music. Don't be confused by the fact that it's at the high school. That's just the venue. But the performances are top notch. I've been to several already. So we're going to have all of us just hang out there on February 7th. It's a Saturday at 5 p.m. You can buy tickets here through February 5th at $25, or you can buy them at the door for $40. So I think you should buy them here for $25. Men's Spirit Support Group will meet this coming Monday at 7 p.m. in the foyer, Monday, February 2nd. Our Labyrinth Walk will be a week from today. So next Wednesday after the Wednesday service will be our Labyrinth Walk. Ecstatic Dance is coming up in a little bit. Wednesday, February 11th, 6 p.m. So come out there and free yourself up, because Ecstatic Dance is, Lorian knows right there, Ecstatic Dance is a way to free yourself up. Because we just kind of move the energy. We move the energy. We move what's moving in us, right? Whatever it might be. It might be joy. We might be dancing a celebration, or we might be dancing something that a loss, or something we're releasing, or something that's a difficult emotion. Anyway, we know that we recognize that energy needs to move, and so we move it. Save the date. The teens are having a bake sale, and they're going to bake right here in our own kitchen. So we're going to get baked goods baked by the teens in our own kitchen. So we know it's going to be so divine. It's going to be filled with all the prayer that permeates this building. And they'll have that sale on Sunday, February 15th, right after service, 12 to 12:30 p.m. All the proceeds go to summer teen camp. Here's something that might be good news for everyone. The board has eliminated the $35 membership fee starting January 1st. In other words, it already started. So as of this year, no more $35 membership fee. That is in recognition that our members already commit to supporting the center financially to the best of their ability. So there's no need for a $35 fee. So it is gone kaput. Unless for anyone who objects to that decision, you may still pay your $35 if you object to that. Season for Nonviolence is upon us. It is from January 30th through April 4th, inspired by the 50th and 30th memorial anniversaries of Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. There are copies of the 64 days of practices right out there in the foyer. February, you might notice all these bears around here and stuffed animals. February is our Bears of Love month. We bring bears and other stuffed animals into the sanctuary to get cuddled and filled with love. So they're going to absorb, for the whole month of February, they're going to absorb all that happens in here, all this love and celebration and uplifting truth. And after they get filled with all that love, we're going to pass them on to children all across the country who are going through difficult times. So bring, if you're so called, bring a medium-sized stuffed animal here, and we'll fill up the sanctuary. Then we'll bless them at the end of February. We'll bless them on the last Sunday in February. We'll give our final blessing to them, and then we'll pass them on to the children filled with all that love and blessings from us. It's a beautiful thing. For more information, because we have flyers for everything right out there in the lobby on the table. Also, we have our weekly e-newsletter, and then we have our Spirit Speaks magazine, which the Spirit Speaks magazine, after this issue of January, February, we're going to let that go because we already have everything out there. We already have the e-newsletter. We have flyers for everything. We have a summary of all the events. And so we're going to save some trees and not print extra paper and not do extra effort where we're duplicating what already is. So this will be the last time for Spirit Speaks magazine, but all the content will still be available in multiple places. So don't lament. All right, a big thank you to all our wonderful volunteers. We appreciate you all so much. Let's give a hand for our volunteers. They do such a great job. And our speaker today, you know, this is going to be a heck of a talk today because, you know, she's been through the, what do they call that? Been through the ringer? The grinder, yeah, whatever it is we call that. She's been through it and just had surgery, on what day? Just had surgery on Saturday, and here she is, you know, she's here, Reverend Katherine McKinney. She is here, so we're going to hear a really good sermon today. That's going to, whenever we go through something, that always generates a really good talk. So we have Reverend Katherine, and then right now, before we go to Reverend Katherine, we have the wonderful, amazing, our lead musician, Elise Carver.
Thank you. This song is called If I Were Brave, and it's by Janice Stanfield and Jimmy Scott. What would I do if I knew that I could not fail? If I believed with the wind always fill up my sail, how far would I go? What would I achieve? Trusting the hero in me. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge where fools and dreamers dare to tread. I'd never lose faith, even if losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave?
Good morning, everyone. I'm really glad to be able to be here, so I'm really, really glad to do this. You know, when something extraordinary happens to you, it really calls for speculation, for contemplation, for all of those things that are going on that happen. And I have definitely done all of those. And so I'm going to just explain a little bit just so that everyone understands just the parameters of this, because I don't want to get morbid. But on January the 11th, that's going back a few weeks, Bob and I were putting up the Christmas tree in the garage, and he went up on the ladder, and he was pushing, he didn't actually get it pushed up, but he had picked it up somehow, and I don't think he lost balance. He thinks the ladder itself slipped on the floor, and it jumped, and he fell backwards. Well, I'm standing at the bottom, and what do? I try to catch him. And so, you know, it's just a natural thing, I guess. Anyway, he fell back. Well, he knocked me down and fell on this arm. Neither one of us hit our head. Neither one of us went all the way down. I landed on my forearm. I remember, I don't know all the things that happened before, but I was kind of I'm here on this way. And I'm looking over, and he's a little further back. He was hurt worse than I was that night because of ribs. His ribs are broken. And they will be that way for, you know, a couple of months because ribs are slow, I guess. His arm, though, while it was fractured, that was his left arm, my right arm. And it's clean fracture. He's got a cast on it. Everything is fine. Mine is not so clean. This is the only thing that got hurt, but it fractured. And after a week, they said, you know, that little fix we did that we thought was you're going to have surgery. Really? Can we wait till after? Because I got a big event this Saturday. Can we wait till after the 31st of January? Oh, no. You have to do it right away. You have to do it right away. So I did. I scheduled it Saturday. I had it. I had plates in this wrist. Hard to imagine. Haven't seen the x-rays. I'm looking forward to that, to see what that looks like. But I don't have pain. I'm not standing here suffering. I don't believe in suffering. No one should ever suffer, and I don't. So all I'm saying is that I just didn't have pain. I took a few of the pain pills Saturday night, and by some Sunday, and by late Sunday, I stopped. I just didn't need them. And so there's no bravery about that in that sense. I just don't feel that I need to. Now, I think it's interesting. It's listening to the song. She's talking about what would I do if I were brave. I did a talk one time, and I was talking about Aristotle's 10 morals things, and the very first one is courage, which we can call bravery. The very first one is courage. And Aristotle believed, that was part of his philosophy for the time he lived in, that everything had the golden mean, that right down the middle, and that's what courage is. On one side is foolhardiness, you just rush into things, and the other is cowardice. But courage is that thing that's right in the middle. And so that's what I was thinking about, because my daughters feel like pushing the envelope, like I'm leaning toward that foolhardy part. They know me, and so my tendency is to just, I'm not going to do with that. I don't need that. Put that surgery. You know, that is my nature. I need to do what I need to do. But see, just in her singing the song about bravery, I remembered that golden mean and finding that place in between. And yesterday, and I know partly why they got upset, because by the time I got to Monday, that's when I was recognizing this bandage is too much. I couldn't get my clothes on. It was 46 degrees, and I couldn't get anything to even cover my arm. Well, I was not happy. And so I called up as soon as I could early and said, get me an appointment and get some of this off. They ignored me Monday. So by the time I called again on Tuesday, I said, pay attention. I need a call back so that I can come in and get these reduced, or I'm taking them off myself. And I did say that. And so they did call back, and the surgeon called back. Literally the surgeon, I don't think this is what he does, but he tried to bully me into talking about I was compromising my healing. I was doing all this stuff. And then he asked to speak to Maureen, who's working from home because she's helping us. And he did bully her. So all the way, I did go in, and she's going, you can't do that. You really shouldn't. You have to be careful. The most important thing is for you to heal. Just allow their best advice. You know, she's saying all the right things. But I knew that 2 or 3 less layers of wrapping was not compromising my healing, and I needed to get a sweater on. So by the time I got there, the surgeon, while he was bullying my daughter, and he did bully her separately, by the way. Can I speak to your daughter? He bullied her separately. And so it worked. And so by the time I got there, the 2 people who met me all smiled. She said, yeah, we're just going to take that down a little bit and it'll be fine. And so, and it is fine. And what I said to her on the way home is, you realize he tried to bully you into stopping me from going because I wanted, but he went ahead and told the other ladies to give me something. So they did. You see, I got this sweater on. I can't get just anything on, but I can be covered. I'm happy. They even gave me more fingers, which I didn't even ask for. I just wanted to get my sweater on. So, you know, this or something better. So I'm just telling you all this logistics because when you're in this, gosh, you're just in it. Everything is connected to this arm. Everything. From washing your body and everything. That's the worst part of all of it, in my opinion. Everything else is secondary to finding a way to get myself clean without getting this wet. Anyway, I'm here, I'm clean, and I'm wearing clothes, I'm comfortable, and I have no pain. So is that enough about that? Yes, okay. So when something like this happens, I start to think about, you know, what I'm getting from this. The one thing I am so grateful for is that my mind never went to this thing, why did this happen to me? I did not go there. I am constantly talking about, I may have even done it the last time I was speaking, to say that we are the cause of every effect that happens to us. And we don't accept that necessarily. It's so much easier to say, they did it to me. He did it to me. She said it to me. My boss, my sister-in-law, my mother, all of those things. That's how we got to be the way they were. If she hadn't, then I wouldn't, and I might be. We do that. But as adults, as grown-up people, spiritually, metaphysically, and every other way, the sooner we can get to the belief that I am the cause of every effect in my body, no matter what it is, then the better off I'll be. So my gratitude in all of this, if it were to ask myself if I could really believe that, I never once went to, why did this happen to me? Now, at the same time, that doesn't mean that I won't get some level of understanding about this. I titled this Clarity of Purpose, and that clarity is something we all are growing in. In my prayer practice, one of the things that in my gratitude portion, my gratitude journal, my gratitude time, I am grateful generally in this order for prosperity, success, generosity, harmony, balance, understanding, which is a big one. And I had added in the last year or so, clarity. Clarity. And most recently, I've added prosperity of time. because I didn't want to hear myself or feel myself thinking, I don't have enough time. So knowing all of that, clarity part, is what I know I can grow in. Whatever my level of clarity is, it can always be greater. So I was checking with what Ernest Holmes had to say. Some of you may know there is a thing called a concordance. We have them for sale in the bookstore. And you can look up a word, any word, or phrase even, and see what Ernest Holmes has to say about that. Well, he's got clarify and a whole bunch of other things, but he only had one clarity, which I think is just literally the word clarity, where he talks about this. And he talks about the fact that there can't be clarity. You cannot do anything for anyone. It's almost as if he was talking to a practitioner, to someone who does stand before people. And he said, if we think that we can guide ourselves aright while our own feet walk in darkness, we're mistaken. We must first clarify our own vision so that when we walk, that we light and we bring light to wherever it is we go. And that clarity of how things happen is not something that's magic. It's something that comes. I mean, see, even today, in thinking about that notion of the golden mean, that courage as the golden mean between foolhardiness and cowardice. And so, because of what my daughter went through yesterday, see, Maureen, many of you know Maureen, she works full-time, but she hadn't been in the office until a couple of days last week before the surgery, because she had taken us to appointments. She's doing things, she's helping at home, she's doing yeoman's work. And so yesterday, she really felt like she needed to go into work today. And she was so concerned about my driving. The fact that I think I could drive fine wasn't quite good enough in the face of the surgeon's bullying yesterday. And so, and I mean that. And I love my girls, and she's got my other daughter. They're both saying, we both think that you should take a lift in the morning. So I said, fine, I'll take a lift. And so I feel as if I wasn't being foolhardy. I was sticking. I mean, I'm going to be here, I'm going to do everything, but I can let somebody drive me. I was okay with that. And so that is all of that and all of that happens, I believe, so that I get that clarity about what is mine to do. Now, many of you have had things in your life, you may be having them now, about which are affecting how you live your life and how you do what you do. And what I'm saying to you is no matter where you are and how wonderfully things are rocking, that it won't necessarily stay that way for very long. One of my favorite Ernest Holmes quotes, I've said it here dozens of times. It's on page 385, right side in the first paragraph. Nature doesn't let us stay in the same place for very long. So I printed it out so I could get it exactly right this time. She will let us stay just long enough to gather the experience necessary to the unfolding and the advancement of our soul. So I skip a few lines and then say, nature demands the change. Nature demands the change in order that we may advance our soul. And when the change comes, we should rejoice with a smile on our lips and a joy in our step. Now, that's what Ernest Holmes says. How many of us spend some time cursing what happens to us? And believe me, there's no sin in this. There really isn't. I mean, taking a few minutes to bitch, I mean, who says there's anything wrong with that? But you need to come back. You need to come back from that and understand. When you have pent-up emotion, holding it back isn't useful for anybody, most especially for you. So you say what you need to say and get it out of your system so you can know, I don't know what's happening with this, but I know that I will know and that I will grow in understanding. And see, I actually believe, even though my daughter said, you don't really have to speak tomorrow, you don't have to go do that. You could take a day off. And she's right. But I have to do it. And I do not believe it's foolhardy. I don't feel like I'm risking the health of this wrist by standing here and doing this. I believe that my own soul is growing in its understanding, and as I speak to you, I grow in that myself. You know, I've been using the notion of Coué's principle, and it's interesting, the reading that we did, part of the reading we did this morning in the book group that we're in, and it's seminar lectures by Ernest Holmes. And so these were done much later in life. He doesn't use the words will and imagination. What he says is inertia of thought. He uses that expression, that we have a tendency toward the inertia of thought, meaning that we tend to stay in the same thought. It has its own weight. Coué said that the imagination is more powerful than the will. I can say, day by day, in every way, my life gets better and better. I can say it over and over and over again. But what my mind may really be thinking, yes, but you have plates in your wrist. Yes, but da-da-da-da-da. And so sticking with that idea, he believed, and he had success with this in France, that if you say it over and over again on a regular basis, I think he said 20 times in the morning, 20 times at night, and as many times during the day as you can manage it, you will overcome what Ernest Holmes says, that morbid thought that you just keep having over and over again. And it's because it carries so much weight. You've been thinking it so long, you don't just discard it. And that doesn't even make sense that we would be able to if you really think about it. Oh, I think I just won't think that anymore. I don't think our minds work that way. We've trained them in the way that I just never could do that. And we say it over and over again, oh, I could never do that. You hear people say it all the time. And you do it at different aspects of your life. And maybe you don't care about them. And I ask myself, what do I do it in? And I'm sure I do. But what I often think about is ballet. And I know that I have absolutely no desire to dance on my toes. I really don't. And I'm not trying to be funny. But it just thought of doing it, I just don't want to. So I don't want to take ballet lessons. That doesn't mean that the elegance of it isn't appealing and the movement isn't appealing. But the notion of being, because they literally are on their toes and they have these special shoes. But if you've ever seen dancers' feet, they deform their feet. And I just don't want to do that. So there's some things I know I don't want to do. And so I'm not even talking about those things. It's something that maybe you think you sometime would like to do, but you don't think you can. See, that's what we're talking about. Ernest Holmes says that you can live the life of your dreams. You can live the life of your dreams. So what are you dreaming? When you just let your imagination just soar, what is it that you see? What is it that you would like, but up to this point have not allowed yourself to have? I don't know what that is. Some people feel very complacent with where they are. And Ernest Holmes says that's not going to work. Something's going to come along. Change is happening every moment. And we're not aware necessarily of what's happening right now, but our cells are changing right now. I read that. I don't grasp it. Now, I believe it intellectually. But we do begin to know it eventually. And there are things we can do to be physically fit. I'll tell you, I do a lot of things to be physically fit, and that's really why I'm able to be here today, because I take care of this body. This is the vehicle that's going to carry me the rest of my days on this earth. And I only want to leave when I'm ready to leave, and I want to go there just as fit as I am now. That's what I want. There's a woman that's coming. We are having a big event on Saturday for practitioners all over the region. It's an all-day thing. And one of the ladies that's going to be on the platform or down there, I don't know where she's going to do it. Her name is Dr. Sue Rubin. She's 90. I'm trying to remember 90 what. I think I figured it up. She's either going to be 96 or 97 next month. I went to her 90th birthday, and it was before COVID, so, you can do the math. She was hit by a car at some point in here, about 22, and she was knocked down, and, she had to have a lot of medical help, but she didn't need it anymore. She was physically fit, she's mentally fit. To say she knows this teaching down to her pores is not an exaggeration. And she will be that way as long as she's with us, I am convinced. And so we are many people like that. And you don't have to be science of mind, you can be something else. There was a woman I saw in Time magazine who was, a lot of wrinkles and dark skin, and she had on this red leatherette jumpsuit. And she's on the front page, and she had just run a marathon. She was 99. You can do what you set your mind to do. And some of us are not necessarily willing. And, courage is what's called for. Not foolhardiness, and that's the caveat for me, but not cowardice either. What would I do if I were brave, she sang. What would you do if you were brave? Well, I don't know. But I would suggest that you allow yourself time to answer that question. What would I do if I were brave? They've now put the light on twice, so I'm thinking that means something. And so I would like to conclude by knowing that everyone in this room brings into their own soul the notion of what is mine to do, even if it's only a glimmer at this moment. What is mine to do? What is my purpose? Why am I here? Why am I still here? And answer that question with great clarity. And if you don't get it right away, keep asking, because I promise you that answer is within you. Now, we have to dig sometimes to allow it to flower in its full. And then follow that dream, follow that idea. And if you need help, my goodness, there's so many people here who are willing to move you forward in your best idea and the highest and best. So I think the best way to close is with Coué's mantra. Day by day, in every way, my life keeps getting better and better. Let's do it 3 times, not 20. Every day, day by day, in every way, my life keeps getting better and better. One more time. Day by day, in every way, my life keeps getting better and better. And so it is. I think we have someone here who is probably going to help us pass the plate. It's Mr. David today. And so this is the time when we share our bounty. And it's a really lovely time to celebrate all the giving that is done to this church. Giving, of course, comes in many, many forms. But giving we're talking about in this moment comes in these forms. You can call that number, and you can just simply, it will help you to donate. You can use that beautiful QR code, which is fun, and scan that. Or you could just go to the website and donate. We do make lots of things, and we accept checks. We accept cash. And so all of the gifts are wonderful. And so as we consider how we give, let us do our affirmation for the giving that we do. Divine love consecrates this gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love. And so it is. Thank you, David. And now Miss Elise is going to share.
This song is called Thrive, and it's written by myself. There's something in the air that feels electric. There's more upon the breeze than what it seems. I believe everything is possible. We're capable of living all our dreams. I walk upon the ground and feel its power. Breathe air into my lungs and feel rebirth all around. Spirit flows through everything, uniting all of life upon the earth. So come alive. You're a child of God, a child of spirit, a child of love. Come within, deep within your soul. You can have the life you're dreaming of. The whisper of your soul is intuition. The pulling of your heart is Spirit's voice all around. There is guidance everywhere. To follow it or not, we're given a choice. Take one look at me, I'm just a human. But take another look, I'm a soul divine. Life is filled everywhere with miracles, and everything is perfectly designed. So come alive. You're a child of God, a child of spirit, a child of love. Come within, deep within your soul. You can have the life you're dreaming of. So come alive. You're a child of truth, a child of wisdom, a child of earth. So believe you are fully loved, and never begin to doubt your worth. I'm grateful for the sun that shines each morning. I'm grateful to my source that I'm alive. Every day is filled with possibility, and we are meant to thrive. So come alive. You're a child of God, a child of spirit, a child of love. Come within, deep dreaming of. So come alive. You're a child of truth, a child of wisdom, a child of earth. So believe you are fully loved, and never begin to doubt your worth. I'm grateful for the sun that shines each morning. I'm grateful to my source that I'm alive. Every day is filled with possibility, and we are meant to thrive.
Thank you, Elise. So we are at the part where you all may want to ask a question. You may ask for prayer. You may say most anything. You can add to this. And I see Vincent's got his microphone, and I will need you to speak into the microphone. I'll step over and listen through this speaker because I'll be able to hear it well. Thank you.
Thank you for your inspiration and your bravery. I mean, that was such a great service. I have a friend who's also very brave. She had 19 surgeries on her face. Someone broke in her home and
Did you say 92?
19.
Okay.
19, yeah. On her face, and this was 7 years ago. And her name is Shauna. She could use some prayer still, because she's been dealing with a lot from her eyesight now,
Right.
and everything like that. But
Thank you, Shauna.
Shauna. Yeah, Shauna.
Okay, Shauna. Anyone else have a prayer?
Hi, thank you so much for your talk, Katherine. My husband also had a fall, a pretty serious fall recently, and he hit his head, and he currently has a subdural hematoma. So I would like a prayer for the bleeding to stop and for them to not have to do the drilling
For it to shrink.
procedure, so that he'll
Yes.
be fine. Thank you so much.
These are some serious things. Does anyone else have a prayer request?
Somewhat less serious. I'm going to be reevaluated for a couple of things, and I am optimistic. And I must say, I'm so grateful for your ministry because you speak to my heart.
Did you said a couple of things. Did you want to, you weren't being specific.
Well, do I have a UTI or something more
Okay.
serious?
Okay.
Do I?
I missed the initial start.
I have a chronic sore throat. What's going on with that?
Okay. Well, let's treat for these three, and then something else may come up. So for Shauna, for your husband, I don't know his name, and for Anne, for her infection or appearance of infection, like that. As I go within, I let my mind know that I am one with the power and the presence of Spirit, and that what is known in one mind is known in all minds. And I speak these words of truth from the I am, the idea that I am one with all, with everyone, and this is what I know. There is never anything going on in this body that I inhabit, that Shauna inhabits, that Anne inhabits, that her husband inhabits. Never one thing only, but the mind of God. And in the midst of all that is going on, God is loving us just as we are, knowing that the law that is set in motion and our soul is guiding this journey. And so what I know is that we are created in the mind of God first, and in form after that. We are created in a divine pattern, a unique pattern. None of us is like another one, but we are all one, and in that one with the power. And that divine pattern exists in every one of us. And however much at any point we feel misaligned with that pattern, we go into that idea that that perfection is what I really am. It is that divine. So whatever it is that was going on in my face that needed to be handled and managed is being done with this body in the mind of God. It is realigning itself exactly as it should be. And whatever reaction has happened in the brain, in the mind, in the head, in any area that has risen as a hematoma, that it is there simply to call for rest, to call for understanding, and to allow the time it takes for the physical to realign with that perfect brain. And whatever is going on in the body, with the workings, and it's such a complexly divine invention, this body that we wear. But there is a divine pattern within everything. And as those cells talk to each other, as they communicate with each other in the mind and the body of everyone, they are sending the message of wholeness, of completeness, of perfection. And we cannot hear the mechanisms as they move and as they do what they do, moving to align completely with that divine pattern. I invite us all to see it settling into place in perfection, so there is no difference in what we see between the pattern of the individual and the divine pattern we know from our creation in the mind of God. And that's what it is. It's that shift. I am incredibly grateful to know that there is a law that is resolute. It's simply perfect. And that law is the truth. And when that truth is embraced, supported, and held up as the highest ideal for the healing of the body, for the wholeness, for the perfection, that is exactly what happens. I believe that that is so. I know that it is so down to the very depth of my soul. And I'm grateful for that law, but I am grateful for the opportunity to be able to speak the words, to say the words, to feel the words, and to blend that emotion of mind and body into that idea that we all are truly whole, truly perfect, and truly in belief. So I take a deep breath, and I allow my breath to leave, leaving me with the certainty that all is well. I release this word. I release it knowing that the creative process is already working to make it so. And in the mind of God, it is already done. And I simply say, as I agree, and so it is. Does anyone else have anything to request? I am knowing for everyone in this room a wholeness and a completeness that you are leaving with. Not because I say, but because you know it is so. And you allow yourself to embody the idea that truly, day by day, in every way, I am getting better and better. I support that idea for all of us. And so, let it be so, and so it is.